All right, welcome back, everybody, to the Black Eagle Darting Pro-Am here at Fort Benning. Senior Pro is our class. Nathan Brooks, tell us what we're looking at there for scores.
Well, like the last class, we got 15 points separating top to bottom, and Tony Taza is leading the heap there at 418. Our own Darren Christenberry, who I'm trying to fill in for and not doing a great job, because how can you replace that guy, at 406. So he's in second place, and really the battle here is also going to be for second and third, because Joe Pitt's at 405. Mark Kesey is at 404, and Keith Alstrom rounds out the top five at 403. So good race for second and third here. Kind of the same sort of thing we saw in the women's division, where there's a big lead for that first place. But look, this is still shooting, just like we said with the last time. You never know what's going to happen.
All right, well, let's go back to Foley just to remember how this class shook out at the Hoyt Easton Pro-Am a month ago.
We got 4 points between first and fifth. We could see some mixing up going on right here in this shoot down.
The Senior Pro shoot down was a wild ride. Tony Taza came in as the number 4 seed, but was only 3 points off the lead.
There he goes.
He's making some moves.
He hit a couple bonus rings and quickly climbed to the top of the leaderboard.
Matthews, that bow.
Oh, he's not going to like where that landed.
After shooting a 5, Jeff Hopkins followed with a 12 on the Coyote, the longest and smallest target on the floor, to get to within 4 of Taza. For the 6th and final arrow, Hopkins center punched a 14, which forced Taza to hit either a 12 or a 14 to take the win. Tony's shot was high of the lower 12 for a 10, and Hopkins stole the show.
That was fun. That was a lot of fun out there. It was fun right up to the point where I 5'd the black buck, but wow. I just made a weak shot. I set this phase 4 up for Matthews about 7 days ago, and I tell you, I've shot it so well in practice that coming out here tonight, I had a lot of confidence. A lot of confidence.
Yeah.
All right, we want to get right to the action here, so we are going to go to Stephen Altizer. Stephen, bring out our archers.
All right, guys, your next class is going to be Senior Men's Pro. Your 5th place qualifier from Waxhaw, North Carolina, Keith Alstrom with a 403, shooting for Elite Archery. Your 4th place qualifier from Bremen, Georgia, shooting for Darton Archery with a score of 404, Mark Keefe. 3rd place qualifier, score of 405 from Windsor, Virginia, Joe Pitt, shooting for Hoyt. From Spencer, Indiana, this guy right here. 1,300 competition archery media commentations in a row, Darren Christenberry. Your 1st place qualifier, score 418 from Boswell, Pennsylvania, shooting for Hoyt, Mr. Tony Taza.
All right, there, okay. Nathan. As we mentioned, Darren Christenberry out there. If you've been with our broadcast, he's usually sitting here. We love Nathan Brooks. We love having you here too. Darren's usually sitting in the seat, and we are excited to see him out there because that's where he wants to be.
Look, There is nobody, we talk about how hard Tim Gillingham works at archery, but I can tell you that nobody works harder than Darren Christenberry. And all those guys out there are obviously fantastic archers. But Darren Christenberry, 19 months ago, took up shooting a bow left-handed.
Left-handed.
He's done it his whole career right-handed, won world championships right-handed, competed all over the world as a right-handed archer, but had some physical ailments that wasn't allowing him to shoot competitively right-handed and was ready to give up.
Yep.
And here he is on the big stage again in the Senior Pro Division, shooting left-handed on the other side of the bow. So that's just amazing.
He wanted that so bad. First up here, we're looking at Mark Kesey there. You can see this is the senior division. You see that little bit of glass over his baseball cap
There's
there. Keith
another one.
Ahlstrom's got it too. Got to be able to see those sight tapes.
Yeah, there's a look at Darren Christenberry's shot on the black buck. A little bit hot, looked like he was shooting at the low 12, so good look at him left-handed. Look at that form and follow through. Oh, no, Darren did not shoot at that black buck. That was the feeder he just shot at. So
Tony Taz is up first on the boar with a 428. Tony Tazza, always out here, always in contention, just been doing this a long time at a high level. Runs an archery shop in Johnstown, Pennsylvania. There's Darren Christenberry.
Darren Christenberry.
Is he going to open with a 12?
He got it.
He is.
I tell you what, he's been shooting so good. I watched him shoot a pile of arrows yesterday and never missed the dot on the practice range.
He is excited to be out there, I can tell you, and we're excited for him. Now, next up, we've got Joe Pitt on that black buck. He shot a 10. That's going to move him to 415.
Just a couple of yards hot for his yardage estimation there. His line was perfect on that low 12.
There's Mark Kesey shooting the long one.
So I think they've mixed those targets up a little bit. I don't think this antelope is the actual furthest
he brought
one
it up.
now.
You're correct. Yes.
Because he's walking further to that little guy down there.
Scott Parrott has changed the positioning. That is no longer the longest. Just like Scott, he makes the smallest target out there the longest.
Yeah, that's what he does well, for sure. Trust me, I shoot his ranges every ASA event. And that little guy is a challenge, and we saw that, for Keith got an 8 there, but we probably will see more than just 1 8 on that Wolverine.
Yeah. Our third target is actually the longest now that I'm getting a look at the field. That would be the black buck there. It's a little bit longer than that Wolverine.
So Joe Pitt, look at the stabilizer bars on this bow.
Yes. I want you to talk about that.
So a tightrope walker needs a balance bar.
Here we go.
And what you have in archery, you need to be able to get still. So a tightrope walk.
Right there.
It's hard for me to say that.
Look at those V-bars. Those
needs
lower stabilizers. If we can pan out just a little bit and get a look at those big stabilizers. There we go.
What that does, so it just creates an amazing platform that doesn't really want to tip left or right. Your only struggle is just keeping it up on the dot because you have your weight so far out on the bow that it really stabilizes things. The problem is sometimes we're in the woods and it's really tight lanes.
Yeah.
And so those stabilizers can be a nuisance as well.
Yeah.
But I'd say for the most part, they're doing a really good job of getting him stable. And if you can handle the mass weight, it's good.
That's the hard part. Just the bars. Look at that.
Look at that.
Darren
12 from
Christenberry
Darren.
waiting. Center punched it.
I'm telling you guys, he does a lot better job of shooting that bow than he does commentating. He does a great job commentating. So, man, I'm excited to see that for him.
All right, first up, Keith Ahlstrom out there. And he's going to take an 8 on that. Keith Ahlstrom, full-time, is a tree trimmer. He's climbing trees and cutting down trees.
Pretty dangerous job.
Yes, it is. Tony Tazza takes a 10.
On the feeder there.
38.
Darren up next here. Look at the shot. Look at him squeeze through that shot with that thumb. Execute well. Bo comes forward and just absolutely center punch that thing.
30 suddenly. He's only 8 points back.
That's what we call clock hands.
That is it.
Because it's the center of the middle.
Great shot from Darren. All right, let's see Joe Pitt here on that antelope. Just under it there. I believe that's an 8. Yes, that's an 8.
So by the reaction when Joe shot, I'm going to say his pin was a little bit low on that one because he didn't have that follow-through that he typically would have.
Right.
Because he's really clean and smooth on his shot, and that one seemed like he was trying to get the bow to go up when he fired the shot. He's shooting that the new Hoyt with the HBT cam, I believe, on it. A lot of good reviews on that on that bow with that cam system. I believe it's the Stratus.
Yes, I believe you are correct. That's the new Hoyt bow this year. So yeah, there's a look at our crowd here. We are, do have bleachers here. We're kind of in like a park-like area. There's a campground behind us. There's a boat ramp off to the side there. And we've got a pretty good turnout. We should mention we had over 1,700 archers here this weekend, which is up considerably from last year, about 400 more this year. And we've just been seeing killer attendance at the ASAs this year.
Well, the ASA does it probably better than anybody. When it comes to 3D archery, you don't find a better venue than what ASA is. And so
there's kids here, 7, 8 years old. There's people here all the way up in their 80s, I know for sure. Sometimes there's 90s. There's classes for everybody. If you've never been to an ASA, you got to come out. Amateurs, pros, division, whatever equipment you want to shoot, traditional, longbow, recurve, compounds, crossbow, they got it all.
About the only thing I haven't seen is that Japanese, what do you call that? A big,
like Kyoto.
But you could still that still qualifies as a longbow, right?
Absolutely.
Just not riding a horse, shooting it. Back
all
to
right.
the competition.
12 here for Mark Kesey. Good for him.
Good shot, Mark. I've shot with Mark for a long time in the Open Pro division. This is his first year shooting Senior Pro, I believe. And he's excited about it.
He is.
The last few years, I know he's just been telling me, I can't wait. I got 2 more years. Mark's a great guy from Georgia. Known him for a long time.
It's tough when you're 47, 48, and you're shooting against 22, 23-year-olds. Just the eyes are better. The strength is different. Yeah. All right, so this is going to be Tony Taza there with a 10, 448. He's playing it safe. Darren Christenberry's pressing the gas a little bit. Did he call upper? He did not.
He did not.
So he stays 8 points behind Tony Taza there.
I was just about to go crazy if Darren hit 3 in a row.
Did not call upper on that one. Last we got Joe Pitt, and apparently he did call upper on that one.
He did. Just as he was mentioning the stabilizers and what he does and how he does it, he got it.
Yeah, look at those. I don't know if they're 28s or 30s, but you don't see anybody else doing that. Like 12 and 15 are kind of more common. And his are definitely bigger than that. Inches I'm talking about there, the length.
So you would have to, if you're going to run those, typically what you'd have to do is scale down your weight on each bar.
For sure.
Because obviously, it adds up fast.
Yeah.
And so you might run where you might have, like Tony there has what we'd call a Y bar, where just one is coming off of the side. He might have 18 to 20 ounces on the side. On the V bar setup like we saw that Joe was using, especially at that length, probably only needs 4 to 6 ounces on each side to basically make it run and feel the same way.
There's a good look at Tony Taza. Tony, signature 2-finger release. Been shooting that forever.
I was at the very first tournament that Tony won as a professional me and Bobby Ketcher had actually tied, and we thought we had won the tournament. It was a different IBO venue, and we didn't have this type of shoot down or anything come off the range. We thought we were winning, and we were kind of celebrating, and Tony come off the range and stopped the celebration.
That sounds like Tony.
I think that's 2001. Or no, 2000. So that's been 23 years ago.
That was Joe Pitt with an 8 there on that board. And Mark Kesey shoots an 8 as well.
Good look at Keith right there. It comes through. The big thing to watch with all these shooters is how the front arm reacts when they shoot. The follow through on the back end is not nearly as important as what the front end looks like.
So Keith called upper on that, so that was only 10 points. Now we're coming back around to Tony Taz. And you mentioned Tony came off and won that tournament, and I bet he just said, was nonchalant about it. He's a man of few words.
PJ, you couldn't be more right. It was hilarious, actually, because he asked, who won? And Bobby and I were standing there, and we was like, well, I won. I beat Bobby on the X-ring count. We had the same score. He said, well, what'd you shoot? A 390. Huh. I shot a 393. Well, that's better than the 390, Tony. You won. And he just shook his head.
Yep.
Yeah. That was not too bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was great.
He's one of the great guys out here. Just nice. Like I said, doesn't say much. You don't see much in the way of emotions. He's always smiling. He's having a good time, but he's serious.
But I'm telling you, he's actually one of the funniest guys
he is
to ever be around. It's very dry humor, and I love it.
Yes, it is. I know his wife Brenda's out there watching.
Oh,
Shout out to you, Brenda.
Let's see. So you see what he's got on the end of his stabilizer.
Yeah.
Obviously, anyone that's watching this sees that thing blow around. Well, so does Tony. And so what he's trying to do with that, he's trying to calculate how much wind drift is out there so he knows how much he might have to aim off when he's actually shooting the shot. So we talked to Cara about how it actually felt out there for her. How much wind drift was she getting? Now, she said that it wasn't bad at all.
Yeah.
But what we see moving in the trees and what we see happening here, we obviously think it's a lot. But the shooter would know best.
Yeah.
And so that's also a very fine thread that he has on there, so it's going to move really easy.
Yeah. All right, Darren Christianberry on that board takes an 8. 466 for him.
Looking over, trying to see the scoreboard. That board is a hard target to see.
Yeah.
So we've got the feeder.
So this is, oh, I got the wrong score. I'm sorry. My correction. 458 for Darren Christianberry. I was looking at the wrong score. Joe Pitt is up next.
Mark
we're
Kesey.
on to Mark Kesey now, who is at 450.
Right
an
under
8.
the 12.
We'll get you the score there for
So,
Joe in a second.
For those watching that don't know, this is a unmarked distance class
Yes.
where they have to judge the distance. You
Yep.
notice Mark just shot right under that 12. What that basically amounts to is he was probably off about 1 yard in his estimation of how far the distance was. Look at that pull.
There we go.
Perfect example of what we
Perfect.
talk about.
Pull in the line.
So you hear people say, yeah, but it has to touch when someone says, it was pulling the line, and they'll say, well, no, it's got to touch. That's what we mean by that, actually, when it's pulling the line. It pulled it over and touched it.
Yeah.
So we're still dealing with some wind here, and it's gusting. And I would like to think that it's not as bad out there as it is right here, but our stuff keeps blowing off the table. So they
Yes,
can't
it
tell me
does.
there ain't some wind out there.
Nathan, I had all these insightful notes to share with folks, and they blew away about 20 minutes ago. So.
Yep.
All right, so we're coming down to our last chance archery, last chance arrow, and our only competitors in it are Tony Tazza at 468, Darren Christianberry at 458. Taking third is going to be Joe Pitt, and then fourth, Mark Kesey. Keith Ahlstrom is going to finish up in fifth place.
Yeah, so one final error for these two guys. Darren's going to have to do something spectacular.
Yep.
And Tony's going to have a catastrophe for this to go any other direction than Tony winning, or than any other direction than Tony winning and Darren getting second place.
Tony's going to be. He wants this one because he took second at the last tournament. I'm sure he doesn't want to finish up there this time, especially with a 10-point lead in the last arrow.
Yeah, that was a tough one for Tony to swallow. But watching Jeff win that last one was fun to watch. I know personally I watched it, and it was really cool finish. That's what you really want to see, to be perfectly honest, regardless who the winner is. But I can tell you, Tony obviously wants this win, and it's looking really promising for him right now.
There he is, Darren Christianberry, getting his numbers.
So I mentioned a second ago about Joe Pitt was shooting the HBT cam on the new Stratus.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not sure which model that is. I can't see it quite good enough. It kind of looks like an Invicta, a Hoyt Invicta that Tony's shooting. But he's shooting the SVX cam. And that's a cam they've had around. They've made some tweaks to it for a while. But I used to shoot Hoyt a long time ago, back in the early 2000 era, late 90s. And that cam, the original cam, came out in 2003. So that technology is still so good. It's been in their line with tweaks. For a long time. I don't know how many world championships that cam system has won.
Tons.
Very popular cam system, very popular bow, obviously, in a Hoyt. And Tony represents them extremely well. That first win that he got in 2000 was with a Hoyt. 23 years later, he's still shooting it.
He has been with Hoyt forever, which is rare in this. A lot of times you see folks going from different bow companies. Not Tony Tazza. He has stuck with there.
Tony's been a salesman for Hoyt.
Yep.
Actually, that's not an Invicta. That's a new Stratus.
That is the Stratus.
I don't know which.
It's the short one. It's the 36.
The 36, okay.
Yeah, it's the shorter bow. But here's the man.
And here's the man shooting a orange Elite Verdict. Left-handed. I just got to keep saying that. Left-handed.
Left-handed.
19 months ago, he was doing it right-handed.
And you can see that turkey there in that shadow. It's hard to find those bonus rings. I just missed it.
He was shooting for that 14.
Went for it.
Why not? Excellent showing, Darren Christianberry.
Way to go, Darren.
So happy for you, buddy. So proud of you. Nobody works hard.
Same deal. Tony Tazza does not have to shoot it.
But will he? That's the question. Look at him.
He's saying, I'll give you the choice. Come on, Tony. Give us a show. Why not? You can miss. Here we go. He had to double check the score. I promise you, Tony, you can miss and you will win. You're not risking anything.
Like you said, his signature thing that he's done all these years, there's two things: two-finger release and his Hoyt bow.
That's right.
And it looks the same now as it did 23 years ago. Just as good as ever.
Oh, he shot it in the head.
The eyeball. The head shot. Yeah.
That's not a miss, folks. He meant to do that. Clearly. There you go. Scott Parrott's going to hold that up.
I'm not sure, but I think Mike said he could have the target if he shot it in the head. He was going to give it to him.
There you go. Tony wants to add to his collection. There, Scott's carrying it right over.
Man of his word.
That's the trophy he wanted. We could probably find another one for the rest of the shootouts.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll find something else for sure.
Bonus prize for Tony Tazza.
Not only does he win, he wins a turkey target.
We'll have to ask him. Maybe he needed that one. Maybe he didn't have that one to practice on at home.
Well, there's your winner.
There he is.
Darren Christenberry will take second.
I bet you Scott, just look at that. Scott, I know, just thought, oh, Tony, we might need this for a couple more shootouts. I'll give it to you later.
We'll bring this back.
But Tony's going to come over here to pick up the headset, and we're going to ask him how that weekend went for him.
I always love listening to these guys go back and forth. You can't hear it on the air, but these guys are always going back and forth with each other.
There he is, Tony Tazza, first win of the season. How's that feel, especially getting that target?
Man, I'll tell you what, guys. I mean, the last couple of years, I've got a lot of runner-ups here.
Yes.
A lot of second places. Got second place at the last one. Whew, I just want to thank God for this. I mean, I've been working my butt off for this, and finally came together for me.
Heck yeah, buddy. That is freaking awesome. We were watching you do this, and I was telling PJ about the very first tournament you ever won in 2000. I was there.
Yeah, you were. You actually thought you won it.
That's exactly right. You remember it well, don't you?
Verified it.
Absolutely, absolutely.
How does that feel, Tony? 23 years later, still doing it at this level.
I'll tell you what. I mean, like I said, I'm blessed for the support I get at home, the support I get at the shop. Every year you're more thankful for the health that you have, and I mean, 23 years playing this game, 25 years with Hoyt, and Easton, and I mean, I just can't be more thankful for their support and everything they do for us out here.
I couldn't agree more. They've been a great supporter for archery and archers all across the globe, not just right here, but fantastic support. We even mentioned Brenda at home. We knew that she's sitting there cheering for you.
Yeah, she's at home watching this. I love you, babe.
There you go.
Congratulations, Tony. Great win here at the second stop of the ASA Tour.
Congratulations, bud.
Thank you very much.
All right, folks, don't go anywhere. We're going to be right back here at the Black Eagle Darting Pro-Am in Fort Benning. When we come back, we will bring you the Open Pro Division.